Sometimes there are certain things that, when you really think about them or pay close attention, reveal a lot more than what appears on the surface. You start to feel like, this shouldn't have happened, it should have been done differently. Take love marriages, for example. Many people get married against their family's wishes. Then, when the fever of love begins to fade, all kinds of unexpected things start happening. Today's story is about such a conspiracy, and the crime that took place is terrifying in itself. But the reason behind this crime is even more horrifying. This story is from a place in Maharashtra called Gadchiroli. It's from the Gadchiroli district and dates back to September 2023. There lived a family in Gadchiroli, a happy, close-knit household. The head of the family was Rakesh. He lived with his son, daughter-in-law, and wife. Life was going smoothly, just like any average family. Things seemed good and peaceful. But then, in the second week of September, something unexpected happened. Rakesh suddenly fell ill. Completely healthy and fit, he just had a severe headache throughout his body, which seemed normal, probably because of the changing weather. But the next day, his wife also started experiencing the same issue. Suddenly, the same illness began. His wife's name was Rashmi, so both of them suddenly started having body aches and headaches. We usually think these things just happen and brush them off. But when the pain became unbearable, the family realized something was wrong. They weren't finding any relief, so they decided to take them to a nearby hospital. The doctors examined them, but they couldn't understand what was going on. They gave them medicine, but it didn't make any difference. Then they were told to take them to the main hospital in the area. So they took them to the large government hospital nearby. But even after going there, their condition didn't improve. After that, they were referred to Nagpur. Even the doctors couldn't understand what illness they were dealing with. They were sent to Nagpur, but there was no relief, no comfort, and no improvement in their condition. Then on September 20th, suddenly Rakesh passed away. The family was devastated, but this was just the beginning. They hadn't even recovered from the shock of Rakesh's death when suddenly, on September 26th, just 6 days later, his wife Rashmi also passed away. Now, within a few days, both husband and wife died in the same house due to a strange illness that no one could understand: severe body pain and pain in the body. People began to suspect that something mysterious might be going on. Many relatives started coming to mourn the deaths. But just as the relatives began arriving, Rakesh's son started showing the exact same symptoms: pain in his arms and legs, and a headache. Then Rakesh's married daughter also began experiencing the same painful symptoms. She couldn't bear it and was also taken to the hospital. After being taken there, even her condition didn't improve. Now she is in the hospital. During this time, it was discovered that Rashmi's sister was also experiencing the same illness: sudden pain in the arms and legs, headaches. The fourth person in the same household with the same symptoms, the same kind of illness. Since Rakesh and his wife had already passed away, now their daughter and her aunt also fell ill. It felt like something strange was suddenly happening in that house. But the matter didn't stop there. The aunt's child also started falling sick, showing the same symptoms. By now, 2 people had already died from the same illness, and 3 more were affected and hospitalized. The previous history showed that they too had gone to multiple hospitals, 3 in total, but there was no improvement in their condition. So what kind of mysterious illness was this? The family, neighbors, and relatives were all deeply worried. In different hospitals, such a big tragedy had struck the family. 2 members had already died, and now the daughter, aunt, and a child were also critically ill. Then one by one, more tragic news started to come. Rakesh's daughter passed away in the hospital. Then his sister-in-law died in the hospital, and then the child too died in the hospital. This string of deaths began on September 20th and continued until October 10th. Within just 20 days, 5 members of the same family had died. The entire family, the whole community, was in shock. Even the doctors were unable to determine the cause of the illness. Now a rumor has started spreading there that this is a case of black magic, that someone has done some kind of spell or curse on them, or that there's some evil spirit haunting them. People think maybe someone with a grudge has done this, and usually things like this spread really fast. Maybe that's why everyone stayed silent. 5 deaths in just 20 days, all healthy people, and all with the same symptoms: pain in the limbs and head, and then one by one they all passed away. No hospital could diagnose what the illness was. But then, after the fifth death, something happened. One of Rakesh's son, who works in Delhi, came home when he got the news of his father's death on September 20th. He reached Gadchiroli from Delhi. Then, while he was still there, his mother passed away too. After performing the last rites and completing all the rituals for both his parents, he returned to Delhi. But as soon as he got back to Delhi, he started experiencing the exact same symptoms: pain in his arms, legs, and head. He already knew what had happened to his parents, so he got scared. He told his family and his brother about it. In a panic, he went to a hospital in Delhi and got himself admitted. Now the news had reached the village, and panic spread everywhere. So far, everyone who had been affected by this illness had died. Now it was the son of this household. People feared it was his turn next. During this time, a distant relative had come to the village to mourn with the family. After the mourning period, he left. But soon after returning, he started showing the same symptoms: pain in the limbs, pain in the head. Now, with fear and confusion spreading and the truth becoming known, he too was admitted to the hospital. There was a driver whose relative had come to mourn as well, and he had stayed at their house for 2 or 3 days. When the driver returned to his own area, he also started showing the same symptoms. So far, 5 people had died. 3 others who had stayed in that house were now showing the same symptoms too. Nobody could understand what was happening so suddenly. Now everyone was worried. What would happen to the remaining 3? With 5 deaths already, would there be 8 in total? During the same period, the daughter-in-law of the household had an aunt, and her aunt's husband had also come to mourn. He too developed the same symptoms and was admitted to the hospital. That made it 9 cases, 5 deaths, and 4 others in a critical state. Nobody could make sense of it. Word of people trying traditional healing and exorcisms even reached the local police station. The police simply said, "These kinds of things happen in this area, but it's possible that it could be some mysterious illness." Still, the police said, "Let's review the post-mortem reports from where the bodies were examined." So the police requested the post-mortem reports, since 5 deaths had occurred under mysterious circumstances. With all the speculation and public talk reaching the authorities, the police themselves began to investigate. Until now, no one was really considering that there could be a conspiracy behind this. When the post-mortem reports for the 5 deaths came in, the police were stunned. The reports stated that all 5 died due to heart attacks and organ failure. Now the question was, all 5 were of different ages. None of them had any known illnesses, and they died at different times, but all were from the same family and lived in the same house. How could all of them die in the same way from heart failure and multiple organ failure, meaning their vital organs just stopped functioning? Looking at these reports, the police became even more confused. They contacted the doctors and asked, "What is this?" But the doctors couldn't point to any other cause of death. And this is one of those causes that can't really be doubted. If a report says someone died of a heart attack, what are you going to question? The police began to feel that something was definitely wrong. Although at first it seemed like a coincidence, doubts started growing. 5 people dying in the exact same manner, all of them seemingly healthy and fine. It was clear that something was off. Meanwhile, the other 4 people who were still sick and undergoing treatment. During this time, when the police were reviewing everything, one doctor mentioned that all of the deceased had slightly darkened lips, but there was nothing else visibly wrong that could raise suspicion. Still, the police felt that something was not right. The official report clearly stated a cause of death, but the fact that people of different ages had died in the same way raised serious concerns. This caught the attention of the Gadchiroli police, and they put serious thought into the matter. Normally in such cases, even the police might say, "Let it go." But this time they felt that something was definitely wrong. The police decided to dig into the family's background and investigate further. They went to the house to conduct inquiries. At that point, who was even left in the family? One son had been admitted to the hospital, and a daughter-in-law was at home. So the police team went to the house to question her. The woman was educated. When the police arrived at the house, it was a scene of devastation in one family. 5 people had died, and 3 to 4 others were hospitalized. You can imagine the condition of the remaining family members. Even the police, being human, didn't know how to approach the situation, what to say, what to ask. But still, the police had to do their duty, so they began asking questions. During the questioning, the police noticed that the daughter-in-law of the house was behaving strangely. Despite the deaths of her in-laws and other family members, She was speaking very normally. Her demeanor was unusually calm. Moreover, she looked physically fine and perfect health. Now, in a situation where there are rumors or suspicions of black magic, rituals, spirits, or some other unknown cause, when one by one people start falling ill, and even those who came from afar to mourn end up getting sick. Yet this one daughter-in-law who lives under the same roof remains completely unaffected. It naturally raises questions. If something harmful had been done in the house, everyone should have been affected. So how did this daughter-in-law remain untouched? That's when the police first started suspecting her. However, the situation was such that they couldn't question her harshly right away. So they quietly assigned a team to gather information about her. Who exactly was she? As the investigation progressed, some strange facts emerged. First, the name of the daughter-in-law was Sangeeta. She had studied at an agricultural university and was a top student there. Agricultural universities teach all sorts of things: how to protect crops, how to care for plants, about different pesticides and various poisons. When the police learned that she had graduated from an agricultural university and was a top student, the first thought that came to mind was she must have detailed knowledge about poisons. Now, all these deaths occurred due to multiple organ failure, and there are many kinds of poisons in the world that are extremely difficult to detect. That's why no specific poisons showed up in any postmortem report. So in a way, the cause of death was never clearly identified. But then suddenly things started to connect, and it became clear. How did Sangeeta end up here? How did she become the daughter-in-law of this house? It turned out that after topping her college, she fell in love with a boy, the son of Rakesh. But they came from different castes and backgrounds. Rakesh's family had no objection to the relationship, but Sangeeta's parents strongly disapproved of it. Sangeeta went against her family's wishes and married Rakesh's son. She moved into her in-laws' house. Her parents were so upset by this marriage that, in anger and shame, they felt disgraced in their village. They believed that their daughter had defied them and brought dishonor by marrying of her own choice. Devastated by this, both of Sangeeta's parents committed suicide. They took their own lives. It was only after they died that Sangeeta began to feel for the first time that maybe she had made a wrong decision. She shouldn't have gone against her parents' wishes to get married. But now it was done. She was married and had moved in with her in-laws. Living with in-laws brings its own set of challenges. A girl entering her marital home has to adjust to a new lifestyle, customs, and way of living. I wouldn't call it compromise, but an adjustment. You live a free, independent life before marriage. But once you're in your in-laws' house, you have to maintain relationships with your mother-in-law, father-in-law, and others. Sangeeta couldn't adjust to all this. And because she couldn't, tensions started to build. As misunderstandings grew, she began to wonder if she had made a mistake. On top of it all, her parents had taken their own lives because of her marriage. That thought haunted her constantly. All of these things together gradually started to change her into a different person. She felt that the very place she had come to for her happiness was now failing to give her any peace. And worse, it had come at the cost of her parents' lives. She felt that maybe there were many ways to handle the situation, but instead she had taken the wrong path. Eventually, she made a horrifying decision. She believed her parents' souls would only find peace if she killed these people. Now, no one really knows where, how, or what drove her to this point. It's impossible to justify such a decision. It was sheer foolishness. But as they say, when someone commits a crime, they lose all sense of reason. During this time, she met her aunt. This aunt was also involved in a land dispute with Sangeeta's in-laws, the same family Sangeeta had married into. Her aunt was close to her and was the only relative who stayed in contact after her parents' suicide. Everyone else had broken ties with Sangeeta. Aunt got close to her, took advantage of her emotions and sympathy, and then since there was a land dispute, Sangeeta told her everything. She said, "The person I married, after that, my parents committed suicide. I never found happiness here. My life completely changed after marriage. I want to be free from all of this, and that freedom will only come when I kill everyone." Aunt also saw the benefit in this. If everyone died, the land dispute would be over, and the property would come to them. Aunt said, "Okay, I'm with you." Since Sangeeta had studied at an agriculture university, she knew all about poisons. I won't name the specific one, but she chose a poison that was odorless so no one could smell it, and colorless so it wouldn't be visible if mixed into anything. not even water. Because of her background in pesticides and toxins, she selected just the right one. Once she had the poison, her job was to administer it daily in small doses, mixing it into water, food, tea, basically anything the family consumed. Coincidentally, Rakesh's sister-in-law had come to visit in September and was staying there, so she started poisoning her as well. She even gave it to the child. Sangeeta's husband was not living at home. He worked away. One brother-in-law lived in Delhi, so she began slowly poisoning all of them. Gradually, the poison started taking effect. After symptoms started to show, just like the early ones we told you about, within 20 days, Sangeeta and her aunt together killed 5 people. Later, when doctors discovered it was poison, the alert was raised at the hospital where the others were being treated. Initially, nobody knew what the illness was, but when the specific name of the poison came out, doctors were able to start proper treatment. A report confirmed that 3 people, especially those hospitalized, were recovering. A 4th victim was Sangmitra's aunt's husband, and one day when others began getting admitted, he too suddenly said he was experiencing the same symptoms: severe pain in hands, legs, and head. Everyone panicked, and he was also admitted to the hospital. But when police questioned the doctors, they said his condition was normal, so it seemed like he was faking the symptoms just to pretend he was a victim too. The police are now investigating whether, apart from Sangmitra and her aunt, her uncle was also part of the conspiracy, whether he knew from the start or found out later. If so, he will be arrested as well. For now, Sangmitra and her aunt are in police custody. Look at this. A topper daughter-in-law of a household who first went against her parents to marry someone. After her parents' death, she stayed with her in-laws. But soon she got fed up with both her love and her in-laws. If she truly wanted to be free, she could have just taken a divorce and started a new life elsewhere. She could have lived freely, but when the mind turns toward crime, it only thinks of evil. One wrong decision, marriage, ended up destroying an entire family. So this was today's story. Thank you for watching.